How's it going, you guys? So this shoe has been out for a little while now, but I wanted to make sure that I thoroughly tested it to get you guys a good review. So after over 100 miles, here's my review of the Brooks Adrenaline 19. So let's start with the upper. With the completely seamless upper, I felt no irritation anywhere and found it to be accommodating for most foot width. Despite it not having a lot of structural overlays, the lockdown in the midfoot was great. It kept my foot from going anywhere while still being roomy in the toes. With the large holes in the mesh, this shoe allowed my feet to breathe very easily. But the downside to that breathability is that when I ran through puddles or mud, my socks were soaked. So now let's move on to one of my favorite parts of this shoe, and that is the midsole. The ride of the newest Adrenaline almost feels identical to the current Ghost. It's really nice to have a stability shoe that doesn't have that stiff posting that makes the ride uncomfortable. Speaking of stability, the guide rails on this guy are great. They allow the shoe to be used by neutral runners, overpronators, and supinators. That's because it gently prevents the over-rotation of your shin bone, which helps align it with your ankle. It's a nice support system that is effective and non-intrusive. I'd be happy if every brand did stability like this. For being a solid everyday trainer with good support, I was happy with the weight on this guy. It definitely felt a lot lighter than the Kayano and some other stability shoes. So I wouldn't really consider this a pro or a con, just a neutral statement. But this shoe is marketed as cushioning. It even says so on the sock liner. And maybe I've been spoiled by Hoka and some of those more maximalist cushioned shoes, but cushion isn't necessarily the first word that comes to my mind while running in this shoe. What I thought was that it was kind of Goldilocks. It had a good amount of cushion, not pillowy, but it also wasn't too little. I thought the same for the responsiveness. It had a little spring in it, but nothing like React or Boost. Overall, I thought the cushioning in general was good, but nothing extraordinary. So now let's move on to the outsole. The rubber covers the majority of the outsole, and this helps give it good grip on most conditions. With over 100 miles on these guys, I'm seeing very little wear on the outsole, which is definitely a plus. So whether you're a neutral runner that wants a little bit of support towards the end of a long run when your form breaks down, or you're an overpronator that needs that support throughout the whole length of the run, the Adrenaline has got you covered. If you don't want a shoe with over-the-top maximalist cushioning, but you still want a nice plush ride with a little bit of bounce to it, this is a good option for you. Overall, in my opinion, the Adrenaline 19 is a turning point. I was never personally a fan of the older models because of that overly stiff medial posting, and the dated uppers on them as well. But with the latest version, it sets the standard for stability shoes, and luckily next year's Adrenaline 20 won't make any big changes to this overall design. So that's it for this review. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep on running.